Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Virtual Story and Craft Time. We are here with Miss Pam, and she is an employee here at the City of Kannapolis. I'll let her tell you a little bit more about what she does for Kannapolis. We are going to read the book, The Day You Begin, and we will be doing 2 crafts and activities today. So if you have any questions at any time throughout the story or the craft, you are welcome to type those questions in on the chat or the question and answer, and I will read those aloud to Miss Pam and she can answer them. Or if it's something I can answer, I'll type back to you and answer those. So we are going to go ahead and hand it over to her and let her get started with our story today.
Hi, everyone. My name is Pam Skaggs, and I work for the planning department for the City of Kannapolis. And what we do in the planning department is make sure that we are developing. A lot of you may have noticed a lot of changes happening in Kannapolis, and that is one of the things that the planning department is responsible for, making sure that we are growing as a city and we're growing in the right way. So that is what we do in the planning department. I am going to read the book, The Day You Begin. It is a book that was written by Jacqueline Woodson, and it was illustrated by Rafael Lopez. There will be times when you walk into a room and no one there is quite like you. Maybe it will be your skin, your clothes, or the curl of your hair. There will be times when no one understands the way words curl from your mouth, the beautiful language of the country you left behind. My name is Rigoberto. We just moved here from Venezuela. And because they don't understand, the classroom will fill with laughter until the teacher quiets everyone. Rigoberto, from Venezuela, your teacher says so soft and beautifully that your name and homeland sound like flowers blooming, the first bright notes of a song. There will be times when the words don't come. Your own voice, once huge, now smaller, when the teacher asks, "What did you do last summer? Tell the class your story." "We went to France," Chayla says. "These shells came from a beach in Maine." A boy named Jonathan holds out a jar filled with tiny shells so fragile. They look like they'll turn to dust in your own untraveled hands. My whole family went to India, Spain, South Carolina. Each souvenir a small triumph of a journey. Their travels going on and on. And as you stand in front of that room, you can only remember how the heat waved as it lifted off the curb, and your days spent at home caring for your little sister, who made you laugh out loud and hugged you hard at nap time. You can only remember the books you kept on reading long after she had fallen to sleep. And in that room where no one else is quite like you, you'll look down at your own empty hands and wonder, what good is this when other students were flying and sailing and going somewhere? There will be times when the lunch your mother packed for you is too strange or too unfamiliar for others to love as you do. When even your own friend Nadia will wrinkle her nose and say, "What's in there anyway?" And you'll wonder how she doesn't see the rice beneath the meat and kimchi. You'll wonder why she doesn't remember that rice is the most popular food in the world. There will be times when the climbing bars are too high. The run is too fast and far. The game isn't one you can ever really play. I don't want him on our team. You can watch. Maybe you can have a turn later. There will be times when the world feels like a place that you're standing all the way outside of. And all that stands beside you is your own brave self, steady as steel and ready, even though you don't know what you're ready for. There will be times when you walk into a room and no one there is quite like you until the day that you begin to share your stories. My name is Angelina, and I spent my whole summer with my little sister. You will tell the class your voice stronger than it was a minute ago, reading books and telling stories, and even though we were right on our own block, it was like we got to go everywhere. Your name is like my sister, Rigoberto says. Her name is Angelina too. And all at once, in the room where no one else is quite like you, the world opens itself up a little wider to make room for you. This is the day that you begin to find the places inside your laughter and your lunches, your books, your travels, and your stories, where every new friend has something a little like you and something else so fabulously not quite like you at all. And that's the end of the story.
So before Miss Pam gets started on her activities, if anybody has any questions or comments about the book while she's getting ready, if you want to type those in the chat or the question and answer. And if there's no questions, then we'll go ahead and let her get started with her first craft, which I think is the paper doll chain.
Yes, so I already made one, so I'm going to show you what it will look like when we finish up. And some of you may have already practiced making these in school, but this is what it will look like. The first thing that you need is going to be a sheet of paper. I chose yellow. I think yellow is bright and sunny, so I chose that. And what you want to do with this piece of paper is you're going to fold it from end to end. So you'll just fold it over and match up the ends as best as you can. And then make sure you crease it. And you should have a pair of scissors. So if you have a pair of scissors, what you'll do is you will open this back up and you'll want to cut along the crease that you just made. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this back and forth a couple times. I don't necessarily want to use my scissors right now. So I'm going to fold it back and forth, creasing that, making that crease even more. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just slowly rip it down the center. But if you don't want to do that, use your scissors. Okay, then I'm going to place one aside because I don't need that right now. And then when you're done doing that, you're going to fold that in half, meeting that up with the other center. So you'll fold this end to this end. Make sure again that you line it up as best as you can so that your ends meet, just like that. Okay. Make sure that crease is good. And then you're going to fold it again. You're going to fold this end to this end. Again, making sure that you keep those lined up as best as you can. And then we're going to do it one more time. The more times you fold your paper, the more people that you'll have. So I'm going to fold it one more time. Again, I'm going to make sure I got that crease real good. So when you're done, it should look kind of like an accordion. This. Okay, we're going to fold it back up. And then we're going to make sure we're going to grab our pencil, our pen. I brought a marker. And you're going to use the side that's all folded. Okay, I write with my right hand, so the fold is going to be on my right, but if you write with your left hand, you'll want the fold on your left hand, okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start in this upper corner, and I'm going to draw a circle, and I'm only going to come over about halfway because the circle that you draw here is going to double in size, okay? So let me start here. I'm going to start up here, and I'm just going to draw half a circle, and I'm not going to come all the way out. I'm going to stop just before the edge of the paper, okay? Then I'm going to draw a line down because I want to show the neck. So just a short little line. It doesn't have to be big, just like that. Then I need to draw the arm. So we're going to draw that arm. We're going to come out with a straight line all the way to the edge of the paper. Just like that, okay? Then we're going to come back. We're going to draw another line that comes up almost to about right here. We're going to try and even it up with this line as best as we can. You don't want to go all the way out to the edge. So it's going to look like that. Then we're going to draw a straight line to show the body. Like that. Now I'm going to draw a diagonal line down to this bottom corner to show his legs. Oops. Okay, just like that. Now I need to draw the other leg, so I'm going to start right here, and I'm going to make another line down here, down to the bottom, just like that. Okay. I practiced a lot on this, and not every doll looked the same, so don't worry if your doll doesn't look exactly like this one. So now we're going to need our scissors, and we're going to cut along those lines. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut this line out, cut along that line, whoops, that. Now I'm going to come up and cut this one. That. I'm going to go up, cut along that line, and then I'm going to come across, cut this line, and then that should pop right out. I might have to pull it a little bit. Okay. Now I'm going to cut along that line to the neck. And then I'm going to turn it upside down and start cutting out the head.
And we do have a quick question.
Okay.
Someone wants to know, are you cutting, you're leaving the folded part intact?
Yes, I'm not cutting all the way to the end.
Okay.
This is what it will look like when you're done. Okay. So then when you're done cutting, then you'll open it up carefully so you don't pull anything apart. And then you'll start unfolding your doll. And the hands should be connected. Carefully do it so you don't rip anything. There. And then you should flatten it out. I used a magic marker, so I'm probably going to have marks on both sides of my paper, and I do. But when you're done, they should be holding hands. Now, when you're done making your paper dolls, you could color them with crayons or colored pencils or paints. One of our other activities today is going to be with paint. So I actually went ahead and with what I made last night, I went ahead and colored them up so that they could all be wearing something different. So you could do that with your paper dolls when you're done. So that's how you make a paper doll chain. Was there any other questions?
We just had one comment and someone said, cool.
Awesome. I was watching another video on how to make paper dolls, and I was learning how you could make, so these are not necessarily men dolls, but they're not wearing dresses. They're all wearing pants. And there is a paper doll that you could make where one is wearing pants and one is wearing a dress. One is wearing pants and the other one's wearing a dress. So I thought that was really cool. Super cool.
So I think you have one more craft to show us. Is that right?
I do, yes. So I have just a blank piece of paper. I'm going to use white, I think, for this one, just so the colors will show up more. So you should have some paper and some watercolor paints. I picked these up at the dollar store. And then the directions that I read called for a water bottle. Now, I was experimenting with my crafts last night. I used a lot of water, and then I used very little water, and sometimes the water can be messy. So if you're going to do the painting craft, if you have all of your supplies and you want to use water, use very, very little water so you don't have a mess. And maybe you want to put something old underneath wherever it is that you're working. Maybe an old newspaper, or maybe a magazine that mom or dad is done with, and you can spread that out so you don't make a mess. So here's my water bottle. And again, I don't need a lot with it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to open my paints, and I probably should have done this beforehand, but I didn't, so bear with me just a moment. But what I want to show you with the paints is that, you know, I think there are times when we all feel a little strange or awkward, especially when we're going into a new situation, like a new classroom, or even now, we've all been out of school for so long, and going back to school for the first time can be different and strange and make you feel strange. But when you first start to begin, as the story said, you'll find out that you might have some things in common, and that all by yourself, you can do lots of things, but together with other people, you can even do more things. So that's what I wanted to illustrate with this craft. So what I'm going to do is I do have a paintbrush, and I did forget to say that on our supplies list, so I do apologize for that. But you can take anything, maybe a popsicle stick, or even a toothpick or something, a stick. Go get a stick from the yard. Maybe that will work too. But what you want to do is just take your paintbrush and dip it into the paint. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make some lines. I'm going to dip it into each color and make some lines along the paper there. I don't think my white will show up, but I'll put it on there too. Okay.
Someone says you could use a Q-tip.
Yes, very good. You can use a Q-tip. But I wanted to show my yellow and my reds are mixing together because I'm not rinsing my paintbrush off before I dip it in the other color. But I wanted to show you with this, you have all these different colors on this piece of paper, okay? And the colors are pretty, but by themselves, they're pretty, but they could be prettier when they're mixed. So I'm gonna add just a little bit of water. And sometimes you'll see the water makes the colors run a little bit, but last night when I was doing my project, I found out that if you fold the paper and push the paints together. Look how pretty, how much more prettier are the colors now that they're all mixed together. And maybe I'll fold it the other way and make a different design. Kind of looks like a butterfly to me almost. Maybe if I drew some antennas here and maybe some little legs, it might look like a butterfly.
It's beautiful. I love it. So before we wrap up for the day, if anybody has any last minute questions or comments that they want to share before we sign off, please type those in the chat really quick. And if not, I want to say thank you to Pam. You're an excellent reader, and I love both of your crafts. So thank you for being here today.
Absolutely.
And
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And thank you to all the boys and girls that are here listening. We will be back next week at a new location. We are actually going to be on site at a resident of Kannapolis's house. And our fire department is going to show about checking your smoke detectors. So be sure to sign in with us next week at 11:30 for that special story time. And we do have one person, Reagan. She says hi.
Hi, Reagan. I have a niece named Reagan.
So, all right. Well, I'm going to let everybody get signed off and probably go grab some yummy lunch.
Me too.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.